Hi guys and gals, I'm Alina Voronenko, and I just wanted to show you guys how I was able to pass the Property and Casualty state exam in the state of California. So let's get right to it. The first tip that I would suggest that you do right now is go on PSI, the state website, and go ahead and pay and schedule you to take the state exam. You need to set the end goal of what you're going to be aiming for. This is going to be a hardcore quick tips, no messing around. Just get in there and punch in the deadline so we know what to do about the limited time that you have. I would suggest that you go to the scheduling part of the state exam and schedule 14 days from today, from when you're going to be taking the test. I know it sounds crazy hard, but stick with me. I will show you the tips. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. I believe in you. Once you have put it on the calendar, when are you going to be taking the test? 14 days from today. Then the second step is we need to make a game plan for the in-between so you are fully prepared and just trust the process of your preparation to go and take the test. So the first, hard plunge that you're going to have to make is sacrifice waking up at 5 a.m. I know 5 a.m. is not a typical wake-up call for some of y'all. It definitely isn't for me. I do not like to wake up in the morning. But there are a few tips that it will just kind of help you when you go in to take the test. Usually the PSI state exams, they offer tests in the morning. So you're going to be going in either around 9 a.m. I think there's one at like 1:30. But I would just I preferred for myself to go ahead and schedule it for 9 a.m. and it's a 3-hour test. So you're like fresh in the morning. And if you start by training yourself to wake up at 5 and practicing that test, your brain is just going to be wired and awake when you go in at 9 on your test day. So I highly recommend doing the 5 a.m. wake up call. Tip number 3, after you have scheduled a 5 a.m. wake up call, go out of your physical bedroom to study for the test. My tip number 3 would be literally just go to Starbucks. Grab your laptop, just, wash your face, rinse off once you wake up at 5 a.m. and get out the door. Grab your laptop, get to a Starbucks. My Starbucks was, 5 minutes away from my house. So once I got in there, it just kind of, they play the music, everybody's making coffee and everything. So it just kind of wakes you up and gets you in the mood. Well, it kind of forces you into the mood to sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and, why else are you at a Starbucks at 5:30 in the morning? You're gonna be like, okay, since I'm here, kind of like the gym mentality, since I am at Starbucks, I might as well, study for the state exam. So the next step that I would recommend is actually, it has to do with the practice exams itself. Once you get on the PSI website, they will offer a practice exams. I would get the version where they give you up to 125 questions at a time. The more you can, the more quantity of questions you can get at a one practice test, the better it is. You purchase it, I think it's like $40, $40 or something like that. Go ahead and purchase it. It's through PSI as well. And then you're gonna have 2 options of how you're gonna be training for the test exam. How I did it, and it really worked for me. Again, I didn't know any information, or I didn't really study. Just what I've learned in my prerequisites and the courses that you need to put in, the 52 hours. So with that knowledge, I just went into the practice exam, and I started with the training mode, the non-timed one. I did that for 5 days. Yeah, I did that for 5 days straight. So like on my first day when I showed up to Starbucks, like 5:30, I popped the laptop open. I went into that training mode, non-timed, and they just give you questions and your kind of like the correction of the right answer right away. It's not timed. You can take your time, but try to hustle through it. Your best first guess, and just move on. And if it's right or wrong, On the bottom, they will tell you kind of like an explanation of what the right answer is and why. And just don't spend too much time memorizing it, because again, you got to give yourself some grace. It's your first one. And then just bulldoze it through. Hopefully you're going with the 125 questions. You should be seeing progress. Like, you know, the first day I bombed it. I think I was like 50%, 40 something percent. I just didn't really know what to expect. So I just like clicked my first best guess and like, okay. And I finished the test. 125 questions. It took me about like 2 hours or something like that, close to 2 hours. It's hard. You're waking up super early. My brain wants to go to sleep, wants to go to other thoughts, sipping my coffee. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a long process. It's a brutal first day, but you just got to stick with it and keep going. Just finish the test. Do not leave halfway, even though they'll let you like, oh, you want to save your progress and come back. No, finish your test. There's a purpose for that. And you should be seeing like on the first day, you'll bomb it. And then towards the 5th day, you're going to be hitting like 70, 80%. You're just going to see those questions all over again, and you'll have some muscle memory, not memorization per se. You'll memorize, of course, some of the questions you'll see, but you will also train your brain how to verbally see how the questions are written. They're very similar to how they are in the actual exam. Okay, so once you've taken like the 5 days in a row of the practice test exams at Starbucks at 5:30 in the morning, the last long haul, and this is gonna be much more easier because you're gonna feel the confidence already seeing the same questions again, but go into that practice test and go into the timed version. So they're gonna give you, again, same amount of questions, 125 questions, but they will time you. I can't remember what the time was. I think it was like two and a half hours or something like that. On the actual test day, you will see 150 questions, but they give you 10 grace questions. And how that works is you're expected to go to 160 questions, which is limited to 3 hours, I believe. So it's just like a long time you're sitting there. But the 10 questions, they kind of like, you know, the algorithm or whatever, they figure it in, kind of give you like 10 freebies. If you get them right, it's just going to work in your favor to pass the exam. So the next 8 days, it is super important that you time yourself, and it's not going to give you the correct answer right after you click, like say the first question, you answer it, mark B, C, whatever. And then when you go next, it's not going to give you that correction mode. You won't know the answer until the very end of the test, which is very, very, very similar how the actual test is going to be on test day. You're not going to know whether you're getting the answers right or wrong. So you're just going to have to have the confidence, I guess. You got to build that up to know that the process that you're doing, you're seeing these questions, you know, some of them you're kind of guessing on. It's okay. Just keep going. The next 8 days, focus in on those real test questions. And don't stop, and just, once it's timed, sit at Starbucks and finish the test. Do not stop in the middle, do not save your progress, and just, it's a real play on how the test is gonna be. Okay, and just to recap, there are the 5 tips that I would recommend, and again, it worked for me to pass the test, is go ahead, get on the PSI online right away, and set your deadline to 2 weeks, 14 days. You can do it. I did it. You can do it. Tip number 2, wake up early. Nobody is bothering your phone at 5 a.m. or they shouldn't. The sole focus should be on making your brain focus in on the material that you need to know. And that's going to help you on test day when you're sitting there, you know, for 3 hours straight. You can't stop and you need to focus. You need that practice. So I recommend getting up at 5 a.m. while everybody else is asleep. Then get to a physical location where there's no distractions. On test day, they, you know, tell you to go in a room and it's quiet. Everybody is test taking. There's no distractions. There's no TV. There's no coffee. There's not much going on. So you're forced to sit there and focus for 3 hours. So for me, it worked to go to Starbucks. I know there was a little bit of distractions, but that actually like pushed me to focus in on the questions and just stay focused and consistent. Felt like everybody was either doing something or they were just like staring at me like, oh, this chick is working. So it motivated me. Starbucks did. So yeah, wake up early, go to Starbucks. Fourth tip, once you get into the practice exams, start with the training mode so you can see the right answers. The first 5 days, stick with it. It's gonna test you on like, it made me feel like, man, I'm missing like every one. It's like red. It's demotivating, but you have to push through that first, kind of like just have that confidence, you know, that will or that pride, and just like trust the process that for the 5 days, give yourself some grace to get them wrong. Just make sure on like day 4 and 5, you are retaining some of that information and you're seeing more greens than the reds. And so then the final, the fifth tip, just to recap, is go ahead and then go into the live test where it's timed and you don't see your corrections right away. 125 questions, time it, sit there for 2.5 hours. It should be not a problem if you're not taking too much time and you're seeing a lot of the same questions. You should be hitting about 70 to 80%. I was hitting like, 78. One time I hit like 83%, you know, and that my confidence was up. I was going, you know, doing the actual time test, and then afterwards I'd see the score and I'm like, I'm feeling good. And so then, the next day I went in and did my test 9 a.m. in the morning, and I passed. I passed, and it was a pretty good feeling. So I hope it helps you guys. Let me know if you use this video and you were able to pass your exam. I'd love a like and subscribe. Let me know how you do. All right, bye.